Today, car buyers are shopping online, in-store, and everything in between. Retail 360, Cox Automotive's suite of connected end-to-end tools, empowers your dealership to deliver the seamless experience consumers want. Reach out to your rep to learn more.
Hey, it's Daily Drive executive producer Jake Neer here in Detroit. On today's bonus episode, Roger Penske's IndyCar series is distancing itself from a post by the Department of Homeland Security depicting an IndyCar vehicle outfitted with a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement emblem. We'll hear about that in a few minutes, but first, we've been getting a glimpse this week at the first impacts of the Trump administration's policy changes on EV startups. Rivian and Lucid both reported earnings this week. Automotive News Director of Tech and Innovation Coverage, Hannah Lutz, spoke with reporter Lawrence Iliff on this week's episode of Shift, a podcast about mobility. Here's a piece of their conversation.
A few of the newer automakers that only sell EVs voiced concerns recently about tariffs and policy changes when they reported their second quarter earnings. What's going on there?
Yeah, so Rivian and Lucid, American EV startups, they had their earnings and both were disappointing, right? In terms of, they had softer sales for Rivian and then Lucid hasn't been able to ramp up its crossover. But separate that, if you look in there, basically what's happening right now is tariffs are weighing on these automakers. Their costs are going up and they're kind of like raising red flags about that. But at the same time, again, we're going back to it. We have that $7,500 going away, right? Which creates a lot of price pressure for them. So now they have, increased cost and increased pricing pressure and not a lot of room to maneuver. So we saw both their stocks go down quite a bit because, analysts are saying, I wonder what this is going to look like in the future.
Right. And they're so exposed to that elimination of the tax credit because they only make and sell EVs. So how do you expect to see the impact of the elimination of the tax credit and other tariff and policy changes playing out across the entire EV market?
I saw some comments that I thought was really interesting, and that is, we may have like a hybrid wave, right? Because you can still make money on hybrids. You have that combustion technology that you've already paid for. And then the hybrid systems are getting much more advanced, much more cost efficient with batteries and everything. And so I think it's logical that a lot of these automakers, they're going to continue to make EVs. It's the future. It has to be done. We'll continue to see, rollouts, but I think we can also see them, leaning back on their bread and butter. They got to make money, and with some of the policies about getting rid of emissions and stuff, you might see, a lot more V8s and Suburbans and trucks for a little while. Maybe that will help fund the transition to EVs, but they can't just constantly lose money.
You can hear Hannah and Lonnie's full conversation on the latest episode of Shift, a podcast about mobility, plus a conversation with Gabe Klein, who led the U.S. Joint Office of Energy and Transportation under President Joe Biden. That's available now wherever you get your podcasts. Coming up, our own Rudy Shork talks about an image of an ICE-themed race car posted to social media that's led to pushback from Roger Penske's IndyCar series. That's next on this bonus episode of Daily Drive.
Today's consumers are using multiple channels to buy cars, online, in-store, and everything in between. And dealerships need to deliver a consistent, connected car buying experience that keeps shoppers and dealers in sync across every channel and every stage of the purchase process. Retail 360, Cox Automotive's suite of connected end-to-end tools empowers your dealership to deliver the seamless experience consumers want. With industry-leading solutions and consumer sites, Cox Automotive connects and enables shopping and buying across all channels. Consider a typical buying process. A consumer might shop for cars on AutoTrader or on a dealership's dealer.com website. At the same time, they might research the value of their trade-in on Kelley Blue Book. Whatever they're doing, your sales team will see that they're actively in market through VIN Solutions. When they arrive in your showroom, you can use DealerTrack to build a deal and secure financing options. vAuto will help you price their trade-in correctly. And after they drive off the lot, you can use Xtime to keep them coming back as a lifelong service customer. Along the way, you'll get the industry's most powerful predictive insights that aggregate data from 7 out of 10 in-market shoppers and AI-led automation that puts repetitive tasks on cruise control. Reach out to your Cox Automotive rep today to learn how you can meet today's high consumer expectations to deliver a more satisfying car buying experience with Retail 360.
An ICE-themed race car promoting a new immigrant detention center faces pushback from IndyCar officials. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security plans for a new immigrant detention center in the cradle of American motorsports, has drawn a red flag from Roger Penske's racing empire. Penske's IndyCar series is distancing itself from an August 5th post by the DHS depicting an IndyCar vehicle outfitted with a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement livery driving alongside a prison. The image was shared on X following a post by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announcing a new facility dubbed the Speedway Slammer. The word ICE is placed all over the car as well as on the barrier of the track. On August 5th, the DHS revealed a partnership between ICE and the Indiana Department of Correction to expand detention space at the Miami Correctional Facility in Bunker Hill, Indiana, by 1,000 beds. The Miami Correctional Facility is some 70 miles north of the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana. Penske Entertainment Corp. bought the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the IndyCar League, and IMS Productions in 2020. Quote, "We were unaware of plans to incorporate our imagery as part of yesterday's announcement," IndyCar said in an emailed statement to Automotive News. "Consistent with our approach to public policy and political issues, we are communicating our preference that our intellectual property not be utilized moving forward in relation to this matter." Fox Corporation bought a 1/3 stake in IndyCar, along with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, from Penske Entertainment on July 31st. Fox Sports acquired media rights to IndyCar races before the 2025 season. The DHS's tweet and image remained posted as of the afternoon of August 6th. The expansion at the Miami Correctional Facility is the federal agency's second partnership with the state, following the so-called Alligator Alcatraz in South Florida's Everglades, which opened in July. Civil rights activists and environmental groups have filed lawsuits against the Florida site over poor conditions for detainees, the Associated Press reported. The Los Angeles Times and other news outlets reported August 6th that Border Patrol agents used a Penske rental truck to raid a Los Angeles area Home Depot store. Penske Transportation Solutions, of which Penske Automotive Group holds an ownership stake, posted a statement August 6th that it was aware of the reports and that transporting people in the cargo area is prohibited under any circumstances. Quote, "The company was not made aware that its trucks would be used in today's operation and did not authorize this," Penske Truck Rental said in the statement. You can read the full story and more at autonews.com.
Thanks to Jack Walsworth for his reporting for that story. That's all for this bonus episode of Daily Drive. We'll be back on Monday with a brand new full episode of the show.